difference what you're going through. You're gonna make it. God's gonna see you through. Hold your head up. Put a smile on your face. This is another test. It won't last always. So get ready. Get ready for your blessing. For your blessing. Get ready. Get ready for your miracle. For your miracle. Get ready. Get ready for your blessing. For your blessing. Get ready. Get ready for your miracle. For your miracle. I know you've been hurting down inside. Let me encourage you, it's gonna be alright. Troubles and trials come to make you strong. Keep on believing, you keep holding on. Get ready for your blessing. For your blessing. Get ready for your miracle. For your miracle. Get ready for your blessing.
Good morning, Sir Markadoo here with Sir Media Group, where we put your business in the street, but seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things should be added unto you. We're going to have a great, great show this morning. I wanted to, hey, Brother Keith, we're going to get Brother Keith on this morning. We're going to get him on this morning. The show's about etiquette and how to use it to make big and large sums of money, okay? So, I'll open up the airwaves in a few minutes. Okay. All right, y'all. Let's set this thing up. We have a word out there, and it is called edification. How to use edifying as a tool, as a system to increase your wealth. This is the word etiquette. If I'm telling you, this is one of the most underrated systems, I believe, known to man. We are young business people looking to expand our horizons, our business, our cash flow, everything. A lot of it is based around etiquette. Trust me. If you are going to be in, let's deal with this business for this industry, the fragrance industry. I have a few business associates, and it's really working on their behalf. What they do, and this is what you need to do if you're going to get into this game, what we call recruiting. Where the big bucks are is in the recruiting. I recruit every single day of the week. Anybody and everybody that knows me knows that I am a recruiting machine. Etiquette is one of the biggest ways that you will grow your business. Let's get to it. Let's talk about some of my business associates. When you use your etiquette and edifying, it really helps your business. Let me show you how it works. You don't know that much about the fragrance industry. I do. I've been in this game for over 20 years. When you have a potential recruit, or you already have a sales rep, if you can't get the sales rep to even move past what they're doing, get me on the phone. The first thing you do first is you edify me. You said, this cat here knows this business, and once you get a chance to hear what he got to say about how to make more money, you can make more money. Would you like to talk to him? Boom. That's when you put me on. When I was in the multi-level multi-level marketing business. I was the master of edifying. When I was with A.L. Williams, I was one of the most dynamic reps they had in the North region, the Northeast region. I was a force that couldn't be reckoned with. I would use that edification to my advantage every time because I was learning the financial market. I was learning white collar marketing, you know, and the order to sell life insurance and anything, home, auto insurance, any of that stuff. When I was around the people that I knew, people that didn't know me as someone that sold insurance, I would automatically, it was systematically, I would put them on the phone. I said, let me show you. I'm gonna put one of my business associates on the phone, and they'll be able to share more of what this industry is all about, because they didn't know me as someone that would be in that industry. So I would pass them. I get them on the phone. I said, "Hey, Richard. Yes, how you doing? This is Sir Markadoo. Yeah. Hey, listen, I have a associate of mine right here in front of me, and I told him a lot about you, so I want to introduce you to him." So I didn't get into a whole lot of crap. I said, "David, this is Richard. Richard is David." Passed the phone, sat back, and watched that sale go down. By the time Richard was finished with them, they were ready to sign up. So, using that format, that system of edifying, I pushed that. I edified them so much. They're one of the top recruiters, one of the top knowledgeable people in this industry, and I would pump them up. By the time Richard was on the phone, boom. And guess what? They were so powerful that even when Richard wasn't around, I said, now he's not around right now, he's busy. I'm going to call one of my other business associates just as powerful. It wasn't a lie. It was just, I had to make sure that the person in front of me, if I was going to close that deal, and get my business associate to come aboard and be a part of the team, I had to use my power, and my power was in my teammates. It was just like in sports. I would edify, I would push my teammate. I would say, "You are the best. Let's get this going. We can win this thing." And I would just push them. I said, "Look at so-and-so. Look at our other player. They're fighting for you, you know?" So I would use my teammates on each other to get them to better themselves. I was a beast. I was a beast when it came to that kind of stuff. And I learned it early. You know, I learned it early, and I still use it when it comes to the two Jewish gentlemen that taught me branding and marketing psychology when I was younger, when I was 10. I still use them. I said, these guys taught me everything that I know. I just took it to another dimension. I'm going to open up the lines at 404-286-6700. If you have any kind of words of wisdom when it comes around edification, how you use me, and how I taught you to use me to be a force in your recruiting. Recruiting is the key. I was talking to a gentleman last night, and I said, you know, how are you going to make, and this is how I teach the youth now. The youth are very, very, you know, they're fragile. So you got to really teach them how to use a system like that to better themselves and how to close that sale. Most people, young-minded people, when you're trying to recruit and you want to make more money, you have to use the recruiting system as an ally to increase your income. These are the types of broadcasts that I really like when you start sharing. When you start sharing and you forward this information to other people. Edification is one of the most glamorous ways to be in any industry. It doesn't matter what the industry is. There's somebody always going to be greater than you in that industry. It's very powerful. Anybody that use that tool, and the beautiful part about it is, when one of your recruits sees how you use Edifying as a tool and as a system, they're going to do the same thing. It's going to speed up everything. Lines are open, 404-286-6700. That's 404-286-6700. I tell you, one of my partners, Clifford, he's a beast with it. He really uses that system. Keith uses the system really well. Even my boy Roosevelt, he's real good at pushing people along and telling people about edification. And it's just something that you want to put into your repertoire. It's very systematic, but it's very powerful at the same time. Now I'm going to give you a brief synopsis. Again, how edification really kicks in when you really, really need you need a power surge through your organization, okay? It's a great tool when it comes to recruiting. Recruiting is the key to everything that we do. If you want a good team to run your equipment, your cameras, your editing, all that, and that's what I'm developing. I'm developing a system of people when I write my books. It's happening. Excuse me. Call you on the air.
Top of the morning, brother Mac.
What's up, big timer? We're talking about you this morning. And how edification.
Oh yeah.
Edification. How to edify. I want you to take us through how you got me to the phone yesterday. How that worked out for you.
Man, number one, I wanted these guys to buy into a team concept. So therefore, it's important that I present my team to let them know that, hey, man, this is bigger than me.
Mm-hmm.
See? And just to be honest with you, I really was just overwhelmed by their state of existence at that time.
Yes. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about it, because this is why edification, you started edifying and put me on the phone, because you went through a phase all by yourself till you really said, wait a minute, right? So let's deal with that. What was going on?
Absolutely.
What was going on around that time that you finally made a decision? You said, you know what, I need to get Sir Markadoo on the phone.
Man, the first brother I was talking to, because I was talking to him, he was trying to get a little information about it, I was asking him about sports because he was a tall kid, you know. He told me, say he used to play sports, but he wasn't anymore. And I find out that not only was this kid not playing sports anymore, this kid wasn't even in school. See?
Yes.
Not in school at all. So I asked him, I said, well, do you know your dad? He said, no, you don't know his dad. I said, okay. I said, well, you got any uncles? He said, I do, but I don't really deal with them. I'm like, God, you don't deal with them. I said, okay, well, where's your mom? I said, my mom in jail. I'm like, okay. I said, so who you live with? He said, I'm still my best friend.
Wow.
And I mean, I was feeling for him, man. You know?
Yes.
I was feeling for him. And then his partner, his best friend, when he came out, you know, and I asked him, you know, was he in school? And he said, no. You know. He said, I said, well, what you do all day? He said, I smoke weed. I said, you smoke weed all day? He said, yeah. I said, so why are you not in school? He said, well, I was in school, but I got expelled. I said, what happened? He said, well, I was flashing my money one day at school, and the principal saw me, and he wanted to take my money. And I got into a fight with him, and they put me out.
Jesus.
Now, at that time right there, I was blowed. I said, bro, I got to get somebody on the phone for y'all, man. You know? I said, I want y'all to talk to somebody, so just, you know, take the media phones off, put them phones in your pocket, all the texting and stuff, and y'all just hold on, man. I said, I got somebody I want y'all to hear, man. Because I felt like that the mentoring for them was, I mean, even though I have a story, but the mentoring for them that they needed, I needed assistance with. It was beyond just what I could give them. I needed more, and I wanted to bring more because, you know, like the scripture says, with two or more you gather in my name, I'm there.
That's it.
So
now tell me about tell me about the other brother that was there. I can't remember his name. The big dude. Yeah, Roderick, right?
Yeah, with a B, Broderick.
Broderick, right. Now you call him Swag.
Uh-huh.
Now tell me what was happening with that whole scene with Broderick and them two guys.
Well, now here's the funny thing. I told man, Broderick, he has a big heart, man. So the first guy I was talking to originally, like this guy, he hadn't watching Broderick, you know. So whenever he see Broderick come outside and he come over there, he be like, man, he said, bro, I just want to work, bro. I want to make some money, you know. So Broderick really wasn't recognizing what he was able to do for the young brother. You see what I'm saying? Because he just was caught up in him moving, you know, him going and generate sales. So, but I mean, I know Broderick had given a guy like some shoes, a couple of dollars to get something to eat, you know. So when I was talking to the guy, Broderick was standing right there. I said, Broderick, I said, man, I said, what's been going on? You know, I said, here it is. I said, you got two young brothers right here who's starving, you know, going to bed hungry oftentimes at night, not in school. I said, why haven't you brought these guys in? You know?
Wow. What was the response to that, man?
I mean, you know, you was just like, you know...
dumbfounded.
Yeah, dumbfounded, really. Yeah, dumbfounded. Yes, I was telling myself, I said, look, man, I said, this is what, you know, what I've been talking to you about. I said, here's an excellent opportunity for you to help some brothers younger than you who are in need of making some, not just some extra cash, just some cash.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
And like, you know, you ask them, say, well, ask the brothers what they doing to make money. You know, one guy was like, Well, I'm just be looking for licks, he called it. And the other guy would say he smoked weed all day. I mean, he was just honest. He said, Robin.
Wow.
I'm like, Robin. I'm like, damn. Whew.
That is deep right there.
I was overwhelmed, really, brother, to be honest with you, because I had two young brothers. I mean, two babies, man. One 14, one 15, bro. Got their whole lives ahead of them, but what's ahead of them is not living, though.
Yeah. I mean, it looked like either death or jail, institution.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And this is, and in that part of life is designed like that. That's why when you edify, lead us into that. Lead us into that edification one more time. Kind of take us right there. Once you figured everything out, what did you say to these guys before you put me on the phone? Go right there. Say, okay, this was happening. Then you started talking. Then I was on the phone. Well, tell me that.
Well, like I say, I kind of went into the paper chasing thing because that's the terminology that they use to get money.
Mm-hmm.
And I told him, I said, you have to understand when you're chasing paper, you have to know the direction that paper is leading you in. And I said, the direction that you guys are going, I said, you got limited options. And I said, it's debt or jail. So then I told him, I understand the mindset, the concept of this chasing paper and not understanding what a paper can lead you. I said, because I've been there. So I said, but I want you brothers to know, I said, there are options. I said, there are brothers out here like myself, who have discovered other options, who left the place where you at, and are chasing paper that leads to more prosperous and more healthier, places of psychological, physical, and economical prosperity, man.
But you know where that leads to? See, chasing paper. That was the day with me. I was chasing money, right?
Mm-hmm.
But money's chasing me. That's the trick.
Mm-hmm.
You got to get the money to chase you. That means how can you get your phone to ring, right? Now your customers are chasing, hey, I need some of that product. I need your services, right?
Mm-hmm.
You want the money to chase you. That's what you want to get to. But go ahead.
Absolutely. So then, after I told him that, and I mean, Broderick, he had spoken to you, on the phone before. So, he was aware of who you were, but yeah, I just started saying, hey, man, I got a brother, I'm saying, who's my mentor, and who's helped me, in my business life, but I said, but also in my personal life. And I said, I want to introduce you guys to him. They was like, okay. I mean, because there was a tentative.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, they was locked in. The only time that their attention deviated was when, they had the little squad car patrolling through the apartment complex. So they kind of like distracted them for a few minutes. But, they came right back because they was excited because they knew that this was an opportunity.
Yes.
This was an opportunity, man, because I wasn't just talking.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You're producing. You're producing.
Yeah.
And that's rare.
And,
that's rare in our community where you can, get somebody to say something and then do something. All in the same breath. That's a rarity. So go ahead, because you got me on the phone and you put me on a speaker.
Right. And we were standing up behind, at by the bed of my truck, like men do.
Uh-huh.
And we was just circled up, and I just laid the phone down on the bed because I got a cover, to cover my the inside of my truck, and I just laid the phone down and I just turned the mic over,
I mean, afterwards, because you know, obviously I got tired. I asked you, I texted you, I said, call me when you finish with those dudes. Tell me what happened after I got off the phone, because we still haven't talked about that. We got a few more minutes. Go ahead.
Well, you know, basically I told him, I said, man, I said, this is opportunity for you guys, number one, man, to not go hungry again. I said, because what I did, right, I gave both of them, you know, $10 to go grab them, you know, a little bite, you know, because, you know, I mean, they said they was hungry. So, you know, I gave them $10 to go get something to eat, and I said, well, I said, if you guys do what it is you're supposed to do, I said, this should be the last night that me or anybody have to give you something to get something to eat. Mm-hmm. I said, so, I told him, I said, what time y'all get up in the morning? And the tall, slim guy, the first one I talked to, he said, whatever time I got to get up. And I said, what about you, Mr. Smoke Weed all day? He said, I can get up early. And then his partner said, I'll wake him up as soon as I get up.
There you go.
Okay. I said, well, I'm going to talk to Brian, you know, for a few minutes. So we're going to get the numbers and everything worked out. And I said, I know Broderick get up early. So, you know, we're gonna see how y'all roll. I said, I'll be back down here tomorrow to check on y'all, you know, see how y'all rolling. So, you know, we shook hands and, you know, they went on back to their apartment.
See, that's powerful, man. That's powerful. You talked to Broderick just a little bit more?
Yeah, I talked to Broderick a little bit more.
And how was that transpiring? What was his feeling around that whole thing?
You know what, man? I know. I knew at that moment that he knew he could see it now. You see, and I was telling him, I said, see, bro, I said, this is why we recruit. I said, this is why we out here. I said, because I said, our blessing that we have to pass it on. And I said, as brothers older than other brothers, we have to have something to give them, man. We have to.
Absolutely.
I said, so now, other than you just hearing it from me, I said, now you got two other younger brothers who looking up to you, who leaning on you for you to direct them now.
Absolutely.
So I said, now you got to step your game all the way up.
And you know, this is the consequences of what we're doing with cats like that. This is the deal. They'll reach back and get some of those other guys because they know those other guys, right?
Absolutely.
These guys come out of the hood and come out of there swinging and do something well. They're gonna go right back and grab some of their other buddies, and they they have the know-how.
Absolutely.
And they already have during the edification. They understand recruiting, and it's beat into them every single day. And that's how you get relief. That's how God is going to bless us and get us to a point where, in real time, we get to see America start changing right before our eyes.
And you know, Roger, he started talking about Cliff and his little guys that he got with him.
See?
You know, he said, man, he got them guys that dressed up and they're looking presentable and, you know, doing their thing.
Yep, they got T-shirts going on and all that now. Cliff went and bought him 24 T-shirts and all that for his crew, because he know he's going to have a crew sooner or later, right? It's on.
Sure.
Hey, man, I appreciate everything that you do. It was a pleasure talking to you, and I know I'll get to talk to you before the day is out.
Okay, bro.
So God bless you and your family, brother. I love you, man.
Come on, man.
Stay strong.
Love you too, man.
All right, peace and love. Thank you for tuning in today. And God has a blessing for you. Let's continue to focus in on our youth. Get the job done. Make sure you learn that pitch as a system for edification and how to use edification to recruit. So have a great day. God has a blessing for you with your name on it. Peace and love. Stay strong.